All right, perfect. So welcome to our parent presentation called Spring Semester Reset. I appreciate that you have all taken your time from your busy schedules and from dinner time to be here with us this evening. I wanted to make a note that you were invited to this presentation not because your student is in trouble in any way. We understand that many students experience challenges, especially during this time. And we want to offer our support to you as a parent. We hope that you are attending with your student and that we can plan for a fresh start this semester. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know who is here with us today. So my name is Ms. Oka, and I am the school counselor for all of our ninth grade students. We also have Ms. Villanueva, our attendance clerk, and she will be interpreting today. Ms. Patrick is also here. She's our counselor for 6th, 7th, and 12th grade students. We have Ms. Vandevanter and Mr. Carr, our advisory teachers here. And then lastly, we have Ms. Watson, which maybe some of you have not had the opportunity to meet online yet, but she is our new vice principal and she will also be offering her insight today. I'll also be pausing throughout the presentation so that Ms. Villanueva can also translate for us this evening. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, you can also post questions anonymously in the Q&A chat. I will answer most of the questions at the end of the presentation if they were not addressed. So now I would like to introduce Ms. Watson, our vice principal. She started with us a few months ago and she's really excited to get to know all of our students. So she would like to welcome you all here today and we'll review some information together about any students that have received 3 or more DRFs this semester. So Ms. Watson.
Good evening, parents. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you being active partners with us when it comes to your students' education. To reiterate what Ms. Oka said, these students are not in trouble, but we are concerned about their academic performance and we want to give them the opportunity to reset. And this is a fresh semester, so it's a really good time to do that. And so that is what this presentation will be about, ways in which they can do that and what it means when they have multiple D's and F's and how that will impact their educational future here. So typically when students have 3 or more D or F grades, they are put on what's called a personal education contract or a PEC. The PEC is a contract that requires the students to commit to the terms that you see below. Because as you all know, the Proy School's mission is to prepare students for university. And so we know that the coursework is challenging and that our expectations are high, but we all have to band together to make sure that students are successful, especially in a time like this. At this time, if you have been invited to this meeting, then your student is not on track to fulfill their academic responsibilities and they have not responded to the interventions that we have put in place. So students who qualify for a PEC will be put on one for this semester. The terms are below. Students agree that and parents agree that you understand that they are currently not on track to be UC or CSU eligible. And you commit to the academic schedule or plan that we have created together to become UC or CSU eligible. Students commit to attending all needed tutoring and SEA that the school provides. Students commit to the home study schedule and or plan with parents to ensure the completion of homework and ongoing study. Students also commit to earning a cumulative academic GPA of at least 2.5 and a citizenship GPA of at least 2.5 during the 2021 school year. And students recognize and parents recognize that if they fail to meet these requirements, which are minimum requirements, it may result in grade level retention or in students failing to receive a diploma from the preschool ultimately. So those are the requirements that you will agree to in the PEC. Any student that has 3 or more D or F grades in this semester will be, from last semester, will be placed on APEC.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Watson. So if you all have questions about this as the parent, I will definitely go over more information. But for today's presentation, I wanted to review some information together just to get your student back on track and to ensure that they can find success this semester. So first, it is important that we review your student's graduation and A through G requirements. I was able to go over this information with all 9th grade students at the very beginning of this school year while we were remote. But this is also really good information for you as the parent to also have and understand. You play a really vital role in keeping your student on track for graduation. Second, we will also talk about credit recovery options and summer school enrollment. If your student failed English or ethnic studies, which is our history class this semester or this past semester, then they will likely need to attend summer school this June. We will also review some tips for parents that Ms. Torre, our family support specialist, has put together. And then lastly, I will also go over some advisory teacher support, and I will review counseling support that I can offer your student. Again, throughout the presentation, please feel free to ask questions in the Q&A, and I will answer them at the very end. So academically speaking, your student's first goal should ultimately make sure that they can graduate from Preuss and receive their diploma. So although your student is only in 9th grade, each semester really contributes to their credits towards receiving that diploma and getting into the college of their choice. So here's a list of the Preuss graduation requirements, which you probably have seen before. So first, your student needs to complete required coursework that we will review in the next slide. Second, each student will also complete a minimum of 270 credits. Each class that your student takes is 5 credits. Each semester, your student can obtain 40 credits. Your student must also maintain a satisfactory GPA or grade point average. This means that they should strive to get C grades or better to remain eligible for college admission. Having strong attendance is also something that we emphasize, especially during online learning. Your students' behavior in the classroom and how they communicate with their teachers during this online time is also something that can impact their citizenship grade. During your student's senior year, they will also be required to take senior wheel, and they must pass their senior advisory class. They'll also need to complete the required hours of community service. We review that more in depth before their senior year. So again, your student must receive 270 credits in all of these subject areas. This academic year, your student has the potential to earn 80 credits for the whole academic year. But this number of credits can be lower if they failed classes this past semester. I will be keeping track of each of their courses, and if they have failed classes, then I may be making a plan with them in order to make up those credits needed for graduation. It's also really important to note that your student will receive 5 credits if they at least get a D or better. However, they receive 0 credits if they got an F grade in any course. Colleges need students to also obtain a C or better as well. So now that your student is in high school, you may obtain a copy of their unofficial transcript from either myself, the counselor, or their advisory teacher. This helps the student keep track of all of the requirements for graduation credits, and it will be an official display of their grades that they earn for each semester. This is a document that will be shared with the colleges, so it's really important that your student does well now, even in 9th grade. So I will not go over this slide in depth, but your student has already received this information. This is a good reference to have if you ever would like to review your student's high school transcript together after this academic year when they receive more high school credits. You'll notice on their transcript that if your student took Spanish or integrated math during middle school at Preuss, then these courses will also be displayed because they're high school level classes. You can also monitor your student's grade point average each academic year. This is a great tool to use to keep track of your students' credits, and you can of course contact me if you need additional support. So in comparison to high school graduation requirements, students also need to maintain their eligibility for college admission, which includes completing what is called the A through G requirements. These requirements are very similar to our graduation requirements at Preuss, but it requires that your student at least get a C or better in each of these courses. And in some areas, Preuss graduation requirements actually exceed what is needed for admission to UC or CSU. For instance, at Preuss, your student actually needs 3 years of history and 3 years of science, while the colleges here only need them to complete 2 years. Your student will leave Preuss with more fundamental knowledge and skills to be successful while they're at the university. But this means that they must put in the work now and find that motivation to succeed this semester. So next, we'll talk about credit recovery options. So we utilize what is called the Apex Learning System to enroll your student in a class that is actually done online. Students will be monitored by a Preuss teacher to ensure that they can complete the course in a timely manner. So what happens if your student failed 1 or more classes this past semester? So just to review again, if your student receives a D grade, then that means they have the 5 credits needed for graduation. But if they received an F, then they do not get those 5 credits. Either a D or an F grade may actually impact their college admission if they do not make up the credits to match those A through G requirements that we just went over. Your students' credit recovery options would be to take summer school courses and or to be enrolled in an Apex course during a future academic year. Usually over the summer, students can only complete 1 class because that's the time and the amount of time that they're given just to complete 1 course. So if they fail multiple classes, this may mean that that summer school class is added after their 10th grade year or during their 10th grade year. Instead of taking an elective of their choice, they would take an Apex course. So not only does your student need to make up these credits if they fail, but this may also impact eligibility for co-curricular activities like sports or merit-based scholarships in the future. And with how competitive college admission is becoming, they might not be able to get into the four-year college of their choice. So failing classes in 9th grade can impact what classes your student will take in 10th grade. So on the right-hand side, you can see that the classes that your student would take in 10th grade, as long as they pass everything successfully for 9th grade. So for instance, if your student did not pass advanced biology this year or for this semester, then that means that they might not take chemistry next year, and they might be re-enrolled in biology with their current 8th grade peers. I may also have to work with your student to ensure that they're making up the credits that they were unable to do over the summer if they're not able to finish it. It's really important that your student communicate with me or with their advisory teacher if they're really having a difficult time this year, so that we can strategize together and help them obtain success this semester. So just looking at 9th grade courses, your student will be invited to attend summer school this upcoming June if they have failed ethnic studies or English. So if your student has failed one semester of ethnic studies, that means that they will come to summer school this year. However, if they failed both semesters, so first and second semester of ethnic studies, that means that they actually retake that class in 10th grade. If your student fails either 1 or 2 semesters of English, then they will also be taking summer school. And if your student fails multiple classes, as mentioned, then they will likely need to be enrolled in summer school and a credit recovery option during 10th grade or in the future. Right now, we're also trying to develop a plan for more credit recovery options, which could be a possibility for math or science classes that are not passed. But we will keep you informed towards the end of the semester. So now we have some tips that we would like to share with you that have been gathered from Ms. Torre and some other 9th grade core content teachers. So here are some general tips that we recommend that you follow. We hope that first and foremost, you can care for yourself and that you can be a model for self-care for your student. We hope that you can also help your student establish a schedule and to develop strong time management skills. This is helpful in 9th grade and in any other year during high school and when they become adults. We also recommend setting up a designated study space if there is room for one, or to be creative with the space that you do have. We understand that learning from home can be a challenge and that space can be limited, but please communicate with me or with Ms. Torre if you're seeking additional support. We also hope that you can familiarize yourself with some online learning platforms that we are using at Preuss, and we'll go over that in the next slide. It's also important to stay in communication with me, the counselor, and your students' teachers. We hope that you can help limit your student distractions. So if there's a TV or a cell phone nearby, if you can have them try to limit that use during school hours, that could benefit their overall engagement. Also be aware of and help students monitor their own stress levels. And please reach out to me if you notice that there may be a change in your students' behavior that you haven't noticed before. I've also provided some quick links here from our main PROIS website. I know that parents in general may have been having questions about what time class starts, or what the school calendar looks like, or when grades will be posted and released. So that will be accessible to you here in this slide. So there are some tools that you can use while we are in this online learning environment and even when we go back to campus. So Aries is a great resource for parents to check student grades, check missing assignments, your student's class schedule, the name of the teachers that your student has and their email addresses. And you can also download this app on your phone or just use it in a web browser. If you don't have this set up yet, Ms. Tori has provided parent portal instructions that are also hyperlinked here that you can review after this presentation. Another great resource is Parent Square. This is the main form of communication with our school. You can message each teacher individually here and reach out to them if you have further questions about your students' development and their progress in the class. And this is where the PROIS main messages are coming from. They will be available on Parent Square. If you don't have access to this, please contact Dr. Azizi Brewer if you need help with this account. So lastly, your student may have talked to you about Google Classroom, or at least I hope they have at this point. This is where you will be able to see the most up-to-date deadlines and missing assignments. This is where the teachers are also posting their Zoom links for class. You can access this directly through your student, or you can email or Parent Square the teacher to be added to the classroom. Ms. Tori also wanted me to share some family resources. So the social and emotional wellness of your student is a high priority for counselors. So we have weekly support groups if your student is feeling a little isolated or they need to connect with their peers outside of class. These community groups run during lunch. We also have referrals for mental health services and therapy, even during our online learning environment, if your student needs additional emotional and personal support. There's also a variety of community food distribution centers and also through the PROIS School Support Mobile. All this information is also posted on the PROIS website. Ms. Tori has also provided a document about community COVID testing, and you can find more information on that website. So one of the biggest questions that I've gotten from parents this academic year is, when can my student receive tutoring? Or when is tutoring available? When is it offered? So here I have compiled a list of your students' core classes and their teachers with the specific times that the teachers are offering tutoring. Teachers are also accommodating during this time and can provide additional support outside of these hours, as long as the student emails the teacher for assistance. Students can find the tutoring Zoom links directly on the teacher's Google Classroom. So I also wanted to remind you of SEA, which is still available to your student during the spring semester. All SEA sessions will be on Zoom, and your student can access this link on those specific dates. Students can get help in any subject area, so please encourage them to attend SEA, even if they're not behind in classwork. So there are some tips from the core teachers of English, ethnic studies or history, biology, and math. They wanted the parents to know this information. So the overarching theme here is that the teachers want the students to communicate directly with them. Right now, email is the #1 form of communication because we can't see each other in the halls. We can't wait after class unless it's on Zoom. So please encourage your student to reach out if they're struggling. The teachers are willing to meet with your student individually to provide them with that academic support that they need to pass the class this semester. Our teachers understand that there may be challenging circumstances, so they're willing to work with your student and with you, the parent, to make a plan. So now I will allow the advisory teachers to give some comments if they have any. But on this slide, I'm sure that you all have their contact information. I know that the advisory teachers are another great form of contact, and they are great at keeping your students informed of what's happening on campus and what's happening in this remote environment. So please reach out to them if you do have any questions or concerns. But Mr. Carr or Ms. V, would you like to say anything to our parents that are here?
Yeah, I will just make a quick reminder that right now we are in a situation where we're all at home often, but there's good signs of this summer, us being able to go back outside and be more social. With that in mind, let's work hard so that way we're not in summer school all summer. And let's finish this semester off strong so we can enjoy being outside this summer. Thank you.
Hi, thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. And I guess I just want to make sure that you know, as an advisory teacher, my main goal is to take down all the barriers that stand in the way of your students' success. I want them to have a good time in high school. And so I've had a lot of conversations with them about what barriers they have. So I want to know which ones are in their control and which ones aren't, because I know a lot of the issues we're having are outside of our control this year. And it would just help me help them so much more if I could know more specifically what might be challenging them. So if it is in their control that they just have their phones next to them during Zoom and they get distracted, or if it's outside of their control, like taking care of sick family members. Either way, I'm here to help. But it's hard because if I don't hear from them, or if I don't see them and they don't turn on their cameras, then I don't know what I need to do to help them succeed. We've had a big debate with them over whether or not they should have to turn on their cameras. And I would love to hear some parent guardian input as well. Because that is kind of the main way that teachers get to know what's going on with their students. And if we were in the classroom, I would be able to see their faces and know right away if there was anything that I needed to know. Sometimes I go a whole day without seeing a student or hearing their voice. And so it's really hard to tell what I need to do to support them. But I want to make sure that they know that whatever the thing is, we're all here to help.
Thank you, Ms. V. Thank you, Mr. Carr. I think that's the main thing, right? Communication. And we all miss seeing each other in person. We miss being able to see you all at school. So please just reach out to us if you are struggling, because yes, we are all here to support you. So again, this is just my role, and these are just some types of support I can provide your student. So if there's anything going on, I really want to help holistically for your student to develop at Preuss and throughout their time at high school. So please feel free to reach out to me at any point during the semester. So what are the next steps? So we hope that you can review your student's first semester report card. We know that it was supposed to be mailed out today or yesterday, but we had some technical difficulties. So it will be mailed out sometime next week, but you should be able to review all of your students' grades on Aries. That's assuming that you've done all of the parent information and updates that you need. So if you have not logged in a while, please log into Aries and check that information. The next thing that we would like you to do is just create a plan with your student to ensure that they can find some success this semester. Encourage them to attend SEA and tutoring sessions. And if they have failed 3 or more classes, feel free to schedule a Zoom or phone appointment with me if you do need additional support. So that concludes our presentation today. That's all of my contact information. I will stop the recording now and I will take any questions that you all have. But thank you all for being here today.